Hey, welcome to the Cyber Savvy Woman, where women business owners reclaim their power in the digital world. We shatter the myth that cybersecurity is too complex to master and transform protection strategies into clear, actionable guidance. This is your digital empowerment sanctuary, where cyber fear becomes cyber confidence. Whether you're protecting client trust as a therapist or safeguarding financial data as an advisor, you'll hear from women founders who've conquered digital challenges and security experts who speak your language. Every woman leading a business deserves to feel unshakable in her digital decisions, no matter her technical background. Are you ready to stop letting cybersecurity intimidate you and start letting it elevate you? Here's your host, Rachele Schainker.
Welcome back to the Cyber Savvy Woman, where we talk about practical ways women can protect themselves, their businesses, and their futures in our increasingly digital world. I'm your host, Rachele Schainker, a Silicon Valley technologist and owner of the award-winning managed service provider, CMIT Solutions of San Mateo. Today, we're joined by someone you're going to love, Ron Coach Woerner. Ron is a cybersecurity trusted advisor, CISO, vCISO, educator, keynote speaker, and a longtime leader in the security community. In this conversation, we talk about what's happening in the cyber landscape right now, especially for small businesses, why fear-based security messaging doesn't work, and how building confidence, resilience, and community might be the most underrated cybersecurity strategy out there. Ron, thank you so much for joining the show.
Great to be here, Rachel.
For anyone who's meeting you for the first time, what do you do today and why do people call you Coach Ron?
Great question. I coach people to their next level of success. Now, you may wonder, what does that have to do with cybersecurity? Well, that can mean being cyber safe, being cyber smart, being cyber strong. But I've always enjoyed coaching, whether it's my kids or students or even those I mentor.
Yeah, I love that. You shared with me how you started in the Air Force as an intelligence officer. With a computer science background, what did that combo teach you early on about security?
Even in the military, you learn how to protect information, protect documents, protect people. It's the culture of being in the military. When you get a classified document, you see the stamp, top secret, on the cover page, throughout, top, bottom. Uh, Taught me how to protect that information, you know, how to guard it, but also understanding threats to that information. Who would want access to it? And then as I got more into system administration, first Unix, Windows, network, I wanted to protect my stuff. I didn't want anyone else messing with my servers because that could keep me up all night. So I just learned to build those security checklists from my days. So, like in the military, we had checklists for everything. So I just brought that with me into the private sector.
I love that. You shared, how you've built these security programs across government, education, and consulting. What is the biggest difference, or maybe no difference, that you've seen between these worlds when you're looking? I would kind of imagine at the baseline there's similarities, but then they might kind of diverge, like who needs what. But tell us a little bit, like how you assess when you're looking at an organization what their security framework should look like.
Certainly, first of all, when I go and I'm working as a consultant, assessing the organization, whether it's their cybersecurity maturity, zero trust, now data and AI, understanding what are they in business for? What is their mission? So often we forget that we're focused on the penetration tests and can I break things or find vulnerabilities, hack things. No, it's understanding what are their common challenges. And then from there, based on the mission or business, it could be a financial mission. And this is the difference between private sector and public sector. Public sector doesn't have, they do have financial risks and rewards, but it's different. It's not like most of us, if their state gets hacked, we're just going to move. Yeah. So it's understanding what are their motivations for securing their infrastructure. Like within the government, it's to protect our community, protect our nation, our state, etc. Private sector, again, keeping the lights on, keeping the business flowing, bringing in money. So it's understanding that mentality is key.
I like that. If you were to describe today's cyber landscape in one sentence for a small business, what would you say?
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh, that's a good one. What are the top 2 or 3 threats that you're seeing that are hitting the small businesses today?
Of course, we can't have a conversation in 2026 without talking about AI. And there's multiple threats associated with AI. One being the malicious actor is using AI to make targeted attacks, finding vulnerabilities. For your listeners, if you have not downloaded and read 2026 Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report, otherwise known as DBIR, check it out. Actually changed in 2026. Top vulnerabilities or the top breaches are caused by vulnerabilities, not the human element.
Oh, interesting.
But we can't forget the human element either, though, because humans still are susceptible to ransomware and to phishing. So it's really just understanding the dual nature of technology versus human within our current landscape, especially with AI.
Yeah. What I feel like I'm seeing more are the email breaches, the people getting into the tenants and the phishing and, the diverting of payments. That is bubbling up much more than, a brute force attack on a device. Where I don't see that as much, but the email, man, that is very frequent right now.
Oh, yes, and particularly for small, medium businesses, we don't think about how are we protecting that common communication. So many are still using single factor authentication. Really, we need to move away from passwords, go to multi-factor because the idea with access control, it's not just what you know, a password or what you are, biometric fingerprint, or what you have, your phone, but it's also what are you doing at that particular moment and what are you accessing. And if you don't have a need for it, then you shouldn't have it. You know, keep your permissions as low as possible, and that way you don't get into as much trouble.
Yeah. What's your thought on passkeys? People are keep asking me about that, and I kind of go back and forth. I get it, but I'm also kind of scared for my clients to have everything be tied to a device. What's your point of view on passkeys?
Well, actually, I'm all for it. First of all, why?
Okay.
Well, because passwords are just so much easier to breach. Passkeys are based on the public key infrastructure, PKI, that's been in place for decades now, using that private key, public private key, which are cryptographic algorithms, which are very hard to breach. Now, of course, with quantum, could they be? Yes, but there's a time element there. I don't want to derail the conversation too much, but really it makes it more seamless because it's a pain remembering passwords and people write them down or you have a password manager. The key, if you're storing a password in a browser, make sure you're protecting that browser, you're protecting whatever that account is because that's that one key to rule them all.
Yeah. So what if they go to a new device? Does the pass key, are you able to transfer the pass key? Is it tied to the profile? Is it tied to their
It's tied to the profile now,
profile? Okay. All right. Yeah.
but it also takes the device profile into account. So it'll ask for additional proof that you're changing devices, which is good, but to re-authenticate through that device. But what's nice too is that these are so much more transferable. Again, you don't have to remember to take your piece of paper with your passwords written on them with you. If you're not on your home account, not on your own home device, you could just be aware of using public devices. And this is where you see that warning quite often. Are you sure you want to do this on a public device?
Yes, that's a good point. I hear a lot from, small business prospects about, oh, we're too small, we're not a target, and I really explain the risk to them. But how would you talk to a small business who thinks that they're small and they're just going to get passed over?
Sure. Well, you bring up a great topic about Target, and I'm talking about the company now. Back in 2013, they lost 80 million people's credit card numbers. How? It was through a small business, their heating and ventilation company that had access to their network because they needed to maintain heating and ventilation with the stores and with their offices. But the malicious actors, we believe from Russia, found the heating and ventilation small company, realized they could hop over to Target. So here's the idea is that you may be not that interesting, but they can use you as a jumping off point to people you're connected with. And then all of a sudden you're getting calls from your partners, your business partners saying, "What are you doing hacking me?" It's happened multiple times. And it's like, I'm not doing it, but it's coming from your accounts, your network. So we're all connected and we need to have a general idea of cyber hygiene. It's not necessarily the really hard things. It's a lot of the basics like locking your car door.
Yeah, that's a good one. When you're advising leaders about minimum viable security, you want that in place before you start talking about zero trust. How do you kind of layer in, or like, how do you kind of discuss what they have currently and advise them what the next step is? Or how do you kind of have that conversation?
Yeah, it's the way I see it. This is a journey, and you're never going to be safe and secure, to zero risk. It's all about managing the risk. And that's even the idea with zero trust. It's a journey, being aware of how, when, why you are trusting others, particularly in the age of AI. The way I like to put it, Rachel, though, it's like any journey, and you're using a map. We'll even use old fashioned maps. You have to know where you are today. And that's my assessment. You know, good, bad, ugly. It's no judgment. So many folks are afraid you're going to judge me if our security sucks, and it's like, no, we've seen it all.
Yeah, right.
It just is, and it's not a judgment. It's about a maturity scale. Okay, so we know where you are. Where do you want to be? That is your midterm, longer term goals, and then we map it out. What makes sense? Like for me to get to where you are, I could walk, I could ride a bike, I could take public transit, train or bus, I could fly, but there's different costs. So then we weigh those different costs and the time frame, understanding the risk associated with it each and what is the benefit.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of the same. I take the similar model, right? It's like we onboard, we see what we have, see what their gaps are, and kind of make a plan of like, okay, we definitely need to do this, but it's, you don't want to be intrusive, but you want to get that, you want to get it done. We've been doing some deep analysis into their tenants, either Microsoft or Google tenant, like as soon as they onboard, because again, I'm really feeling like that's where everything is sitting, and it's wild when we do the security assessment, and and I can see it in their face. Sometimes they're a little embarrassed, and I'm like, no, this is, everyone is like this, and it's like, especially if you didn't have IT before, you don't know what you don't know.
No, and it's almost like cyber is another language.
Yes, yes.
The business now needs to understand, and where we're using terms like cloud and SaaS, SIMs, SIEM for logging, that just right over their head. So we're those translators, if you will. And you can't just assume because I'm using someone else's computer, the cloud or a SaaS, software as a service, that it's secure. And this is often what we've seen with, being a tenant. Oh, I'm on Microsoft. I'm okay. I mean, Microsoft has fantastic documentation, but it's still up. It's like I'm a tenant of a complex. If I don't lock my door, if I don't have appropriate security measures that are up to me, it's not on, the one who I'm leasing from. It's on me. And this again, what a lot of folks don't realize, that's true in cyber world.
Yeah, more true, maybe even. Is there a better approach than the fear-based messaging? When we're trying to drive adoption, um, how do you balance that? Because I've been told before, "Oh, Rachel, you make it sound so scary," and people want to work with people they enjoy and have fun, and so it's a balance for me to keep it light and keep it interesting, but it's so fear-based. So, how do you balance that?
I like to use analogies, based on the context of who I'm talking with. Often it's just about driving. Do you keep your car tuned? Do you have inflate your tires? Which proof? Keep your tires appropriately inflated, reduces cost. So it's not, well, if you don't keep your tires inflated, you're going to have a flat and you're going to crash and you're going to die.
Right, right. Oh, that's good.
No, don't you want to save money? And that usually catches people at, oh, just inflate your tires. You can be more efficient taking the safer route. So using those analogies, I also will find, Rachel, what's important to folks, and it's often their loved ones, kids, older parents. What are you doing to keep them safe, sane, and smart online?
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, for sure.
Right. But why am I saying that? Well, it's a great context because the same things apply. Know who you're talking to, know what you're doing online, know where your data is. And it doesn't all have to be negative. It's just having that awareness is really it.
Yeah. You said trust and confidence and tech, we need to trust and be confident in the technology we're using. What does that look like for day-to-day business owners? What should their check be that they're, doing what they should be doing?
So for small, medium businesses, don't be afraid of asking the hard questions of your vendors. They're gonna, and you'll sense if they're telling you a story or not. Oh, we take security very seriously. And I'm doing my Jedi mind wave. If you hear that, start asking even more questions because that usually is the trigger for me that they don't know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, because that's not the answer. Yeah.
No, how are they staying up to date? How are they making sure they're patching for vulnerabilities? Who has access through their infrastructure? And if they say, "Well, I have a SOC too," okay, that is good, but that just shows you have it at that point in time. Again, it's who are they doing business with? It's no longer third party risk, it's fourth, fifth party. Where are they getting their applications? Oh, my cousin Joe, he created this for me using vibe coding. And you don't realize cousin Joe took a lot of repositories from GitHub that may or may not be safe or secure. So, yes, ask questions, best thing to do.
Yeah, I like that. Let's talk a little bit about community careers and representation in cybersecurity. For someone who's trying to break into cybersecurity, what are some, two community moves that they should make this month, or like what should they be looking for?
So be bold. Join a community, but be engaged with it. Don't just sit back and wait for everyone. It's okay to go and say hi to folks. Nobody bites. And if they do, then it's okay. That tells you maybe not to. But I've not met anybody in the cyber community. You just go, hi, I'm brand new and I'm learning, and you will find lots of mentors. I especially try to get more females, those who are darker skinned than I, which is like the rest of the planet. Um, just be bold, go to these, even if you're kind of feel like an outlier, you will be very much accepted. um, that's number one. Go join your local, whether it's ISC2, ISC squared, ISACA, ISSA, and just meet people is the actually number one way to do it. And then ask questions again. Hey, I see you've been doing this for a while. How did you get here? What would you recommend to someone like me? It's really social engineering, building their ego because people love talking about themselves.
Yeah. Yes, they do indeed. Tell us a little bit about Tech Talkers slash Toastmasters. Why is communication training such a power up for cyber leaders?
Well, it's building that communication confidence. We're always presenting, whether we realize it or not. Like I'm presenting to you right now. Actually, I have a book called Life is a Series of Presentations that I've always admired. If you can appear confident, then people are more engaged with you, whether you're an air quote leader or not. So in Toastmasters, you learn that speaking confidence, which then leads to leadership confidence. Another thing I really like about Toastmasters, many of us have given talks. You ask, well, how did I do? Oh, you did great. No, tell me, how did I really do? Toastmasters, you get evaluated, and we follow a nice process where we'll give you very in depth, constructive feedback on how to improve because we're all works in progress. Yeah, in this way, we can continually improve through mentoring and helping each other and there are Toastmaster clubs throughout the globe. So it's a great way to meet others, network, and build that communications confidence.
Yeah. I could see that with my, technical peers. Sometimes engineers could have a difficult time communicating or getting it across. So I would say if you have a slight engineering mindset, getting some communication skills would be very valuable.
And actually, the club I'm in, we're focused on technology. We're mostly all nerds and geeks. So if you want to give a tech speech, perfectly cool. You can still stay within your comfort zone, but learn how to express it better.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. You know, so let's do a little bit of practical tips for listeners, right? Since we have you, it's such a resource. What is one simple security improvement a small business can do this week that would give them outsized value?
Moving more towards that multi-factor authentication, as we talked about earlier, that helps prevent a lot of the phishing attacks because even if you because we've all clicked on a phishing link, everyone has. Don't feel embarrassed. Just whether you take that next step or not, you know, don't panic if you do, but just you stop and you think before you click or continue. Um, and then know who to reach out to if you run into trouble. Have a trusted resource. Hey, I just saw this. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's part of our goal is to help our clients create that, cybersecurity first, an open environment. Like there's no wrong questions. You have a weird. We get tickets all day long. Is this spam? Is this spam? Is this spam? And we're like, yes, we would much rather you forward it to us. Let us help you vet it. And good job. Even though we're doing the train, they're enrolled in training, they're doing all the things, but you're really having that environment where they feel safe and comfortable, that they can ask and not.
Definitely. And I do want to bring up another resource. And I know this is probably true worldwide, but law enforcement folks sometimes are shy. But I've worked with the FBI and local law enforcement, and almost, to a T, everyone says, please reach out to us. If you see something, please say something. Whether it's your CISA here in the United States, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency has representatives throughout the US, of course, the FBI, their Internet Crimes Complaint Center, IC3.gov. They're always open if you think you see something. Because what we're seeing with small, medium businesses, they'll steal maybe only, let's just say, $2,000. And you might say, okay, well, it could mean a lot. If I'm able to steal $2,000 from 100 small businesses, now I need to do that, 200,000, 2,000 may not be on the FBI radar, but all of a sudden that 200,000, because they can see the attack surface. They can see all of the small businesses in the area that are getting the same phishing email that appears to be from local law enforcement. We see this all the time, or a local bank. So if you see something, say something to summarize.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I love that. What is one question every business owner should ask their IT provider or MSP that they rarely ask? What do you see like business owners, not skirting around or not knowing they should be, asking us?
How are you addressing risks today? Because the risks we see today may not be the same ones we saw last week. Risks could mean, I mean, we're always seeing new vulnerabilities. AI is exacerbating the problem because it is finding new vulnerabilities in software that we didn't know, that is now being shared on the dark web. So just ask, what are you doing? And this is an interview question, but continually ask, are you addressing these vulnerabilities? Um, what are you doing to stay on top? And what threats do you see?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's helpful because no one asked me that. So maybe I should be presenting it to them, right? Like maybe there's some sort of way to communicate that. That's great.
A quick threat briefing. Again, what we did in the military. Every day you start with a quick threat briefing, just 1 to 2 minutes. Keep it short, simple in terms they will understand. But yeah, I think that could be very enlightening.
Yes, yeah. What's one thing you wish more leaders understood about zero trust without, drowning them in acronyms.
So zero trust is an architecture, but it's also a concept. Now, it started back 15 years ago. John Kindervag, when he was at Forrester, wrote because he saw there was outside security, but no inside security. And once you were inside, a lot of bad things can happen. Okay, what does that mean in today's world with AI? How do you know I'm not a deep fake? You shouldn't trust me, which is exactly it until you verify. So it's trust and verify with continual verification. So, like, you're using AI to help you, making you more efficient, which is awesome, but we still want to keep that human in the loop. That's kind of zero trust right there. It's just don't completely trust things 100% of the time. Give some spot checks.
Yeah, I like that. That makes it kind of digestible. Right? Yeah. All right. So we've reached the part of the podcast where we're going to do a quick little rapid fire question. I'm going to ask you some questions. You're just going to share first thing that comes to mind. So are you a coffee or a tea person?
Uh, T,
Tea. An early bird or night owl?
early bird.
And what is your favorite dad joke category? Pizza, puns, dry humor?
Oh, I'd probably go more with pizza, depending on how hungry I am, though.
All right. Okay. And what is the most underrated skill in cybersecurity? Curiosity, communication, or consistency?
Ooh, I would say curiosity.
Hmm. And what's the best advice you've ever received as a leader?
Um, well, first of all, from an IT perspective, something I learned very long term time ago was save early and save often. Just saying, Rachel.
Yes. Yes. I should know that. Yes. What is one book you recommend, cyber or leadership?
Oh, let's see. Well, first of all, I enjoy John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Ken Blanchard, the 1 Minute Manager, you know, time, tested. We can use the 1 Minute Manager even in cyber. Keep things short, keep it simple, keep it positive. It's not all about, the negative. So, and then for cybersecurity, to understand what books to read, I suggest go check out the Cyber Canon. Cybersecurity Canon is the Cybersecurity Book Hall of Fame. Books are reviewed. So this way I don't have to pick one. I can just phone a friend,
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
check out Cyber Canon. It's a great free way to see what's up in cyber.
Yeah. And what does being cyber savvy mean to you?
Having the awareness, the curiosity, the sometimes tenacity. Don't just accept the answer because someone says it's true, but confirm. Trust and verify.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I love that. Ron, this was such a powerful conversation. Thank you. I really love your perspective that cybersecurity, isn't about panic. It's about trust, asking better questions, building that resilience through the right people in the community around you. For everyone listening, please check out the show notes for how you can connect with Ron and learn more about what he's doing and has to offer. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Ron, thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
The Cyber Savvy Woman podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Hey, thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.